And without further ado, we're going to play it for you now, guys. Here is head coach Kermit Davis of the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders coming on for a few minutes with us. Here's the interview. Folks, we are so fortunate to have head coach Kermit Davis, the head coach of the Middle Tennessee State Blue Raiders, leader right now in Conference USA, 9-0 in the conference, 19-3 overall, joining us here today on the Screener podcast. Coach Davis, it's an honor to have you on the show today. Thanks so much for a few minutes. How you doing?
I'm doing terrific. I sure looking forward to being with you guys.
Coach, before we get into the great season that your team is having, I need to personally thank you for one of the greatest NCAA tournament memories of all time last year. I was at my desk at work, not doing the work that I should, right? Watching your game against number 2 seed in Michigan State. You guys were a 16.5-point underdog, and that was one of the greatest upsets in the history of the NCAA tournament. I remember watching it from start to finish, and we have a group of about 11 guys that live and breathe college basketball, and I remember clearly when Reggie Upshaw hit that three about 4 minutes in, and you guys were up 10-2. I texted all of my buddies, guys, get to a TV because the Blue Raiders are ready to roll. This is a must watch. So, your team had the look, the confidence. You fought and beat what many people thought was going to be the favorite to win the entire tournament, 90-81. So first off, thank you for that incredible memory.
Well, I sure appreciate that. It's always good to hear those stories, and we've heard so many of them throughout the country. And it's just, we all are basketball junkies, and when we weren't playing, I love watching all the games, and that's just why, I really believe it's the greatest sporting event in all of athletics, just because of the upsets, and that March it really is a lot of fun.
Coach, you are in your 15th season, I believe, at Middle Tennessee State, and you've accomplished what I think is really the hardest thing for any college basketball school to do. You have sustained success over a long period of time. You were in the Sun Belt for a while. You guys won back-to-back 2011, 2012, and 2012, 2013. You were 14-2 in conference, then 19-1 in conference. Then you joined Conference USA in your first season. What'd you guys do? You won Conference USA, going 13-3, and last year 25-9. Great job in the Conference USA tournament, and of course the big win. So, Coach, talk about the keys. How do you build a program in today's day and age that has the sustained success that you guys have had over many years?
It's funny. I have 15 years ago, and I just talked to a couple of my first senior class 15 years ago. And Scottie Pippen's nephew, William Pippen, was in that class. A guy named John Humphrey, who made a name for himself as the helicopter on the N1 tour. And I was just talking to him. We're all going to get together on they call it Legends Weekend here. And I have a picture of our court 15 years ago in our arena. It must have been about 200 people, those early games. They had different orange seats, green seats, yellow seats in this old building. And it's amazing 15 years later. It always reminds me kind of where we started from. And, and just the biggest thing that we talked about, we just did an article a couple of days ago about the hardest thing is sustainability. And we hope that we were where VCU and maybe Butler was 5 or 6, 7 years ago, and probably the most proud that we've been is after the Michigan State win, which was such a great win for our brand, is that we could back it up. We still have a lot of hard work to do, but then the national people say it makes that win even better because I think they look at us more of it could be a national program, and that's what we're all striving for.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I read that article in USA Today, and you guys are right there. It's exciting as us as fans to see the programs develop to the point where it's really not a surprise. We've been talking, my partner Gus Kearns and I talking about Giddy Potts. I mean, he went into that tournament last year shooting over 50% from three-point range. So you hear these players, you get to see them and see them develop, and I think you guys are right there right now with Butler and VCU.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, I really do. I really think right now with this team, and we can get beat on the road this weekend in league play. Everybody knows how conference play can be. But I really think that we can go about anybody in the country right now on a neutral court and be right there. And that's not arrogant. I just think that, and we can sure get beat by them, but I think we're very, very competitive, and I think our players believe that. We've tried to schedule up. Our non-conference strength of schedule, I think, is 22 or 24. And I think in the last maybe 12 games against the SEC over the last 5 years, we're 7-5. And so we've kind of held our own, and I think our players believe that we belong in all these games.
Yeah, it's 100% correct. Folks, we're talking to Middle Tennessee State head coach Kermit Davis. Coach, this season you are perfect, 9-0 in conference. You had a great battle last game with Louisiana Tech at home. You held them to 36% from the field. It's a great win for you, and right now it puts you up 2 games in Conference USA. So talk about that game, and then talk about your tough, like you said, upcoming road conference games. You have a bunch of them, including Old Dominion next week and then a late tilt at UAB.
You know, Louisiana Tech played great. They really did. Eric Conkel's he's a really good young coach, came from Miami, and he's got good players. And they had a tough loss at UAB and lost their second leading scorer to kind of an ejection and a fight that happened. And their team came in determined. We had a great crowd, got down early. And really, you know, every league game, it have a life of its own. You got to win them in so many different ways throughout league play around the country. And we came back, made some tough plays at the end. We won by 10. Probably wasn't indicative of the game, but it really was. It was a great environment. And I'm telling you what, our about 8,000 fans had a lot to do with that win.
Absolutely. Coach, what do you stress with your team? I mean, whenever I watch them, I've seen several games this year and then the games last year in the conference tournament, of course, Michigan State. What they seem to play with so much passion. They love playing the game. They play together. They don't get down if they're behind. They continue to come at you. What are some of the things you stress with your team that you've been able to really see them take home and use?
Well, I appreciate you saying that. You know, you hope that they take on the personality of myself and our staff, and I think we coach with a lot of passion. We take a lot of pride on being able to coach our best players the hardest. And that's kind of part of our culture, doing all the little things. I mean, we have competitive practices, and practice still means a lot right now for playing time and on the weekend trip that we're about to go on in Texas. And so I think anything that we do, we're trying to be built to win on the road. And you hope those things in practice pay off. And number one, it starts with really good players. And we've got really good players. We just do. They're talented. They're committed. And like I said, they can go make basketball plays on their own, and so they're a lot of fun to come to the gym with.
That's a perfect segue, and that's who I want to get to now about your players, Coach. Let's start with the returning foundational players, senior Reggie Upshaw and junior Giddy Potts, 2 of the foundations of your program, your 2 leading scorers from last year. They're both around 15 points per game. So let's talk about them and how great they are.
Yeah, Reggie Upshaw, you know, his dad played football here years ago. Reggie was a big-time college football prospect, got a lot of SEC offers, but his passion was basketball. And, you know, I'm telling you now, 2 guys last year, think about this, he and Ben Simmons were the only 2 that led their teams like in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. He's one of the most versatile players in college basketball right now. I mean, you know, a lot of bigs can dribble. You know, Reggie's 6'7" and 230 pounds and can play make, and he can make threes. He'll go down as one of the most versatile players in the history of our school, and so he can do a lot of different things as a point forward. Giddy Potts, you know, both of them high school kids. Giddy was a kind of a country kid from Athens, Alabama, didn't want to go too far from home, was really getting kind of under-recruited, came to Middle Tennessee and weighed about 242 pounds with about 25% body fat. Now he's like 6.5% body fat, 218 pounds, and he can shoot it. He's an elite shooter. And I'll put him up against any shooter in college basketball. With his range, great kid. We got to get him to drive it more, get to the free throw line more. But he really is. He's a tough guy. He'll make some unbelievable big plays in clutch situations.
Yeah, they're 2 great competitors and 2 great players there. And of course, this year, Coach, you've had the big transfer, Ja'Cory Williams from Arkansas. He's really been quite a presence for you inside. I remember seeing you early on in the year. You had a tough battle at VCU as well. You guys played real tough in that game. It's a tough road game for you. And he was really impressive. 17 points per game, over 7 rebounds. Huge transfer, Coach. Talk about his impact.
Yeah, you know, he is great that anytime a guy can redshirt and it's not due to injury, it's going to help. And he played in a lot of games, maybe started just a couple games at Arkansas, but averaged about 5 a game. And he had such a really good redshirt year. He came here about 202, 203. Now he's about 224. His body has changed. He's another Reggie Upshaw. He's a point forward. He doesn't make threes, but but he's a 17, 18-foot shooter. He brings the ball up the floor after he rebounds it. He's real skilled. He play makes. And so you put he and Reggie, we kind of play them both forwards, and one of them will play the five, although they're not fives. They're tough matchups. Corey Williams is one of the most competitive guys that we've had here in 15 years. I don't care if you're doing a 2-on-2 competitive rebounding drill, but if you're playing something to a point total to win or lose, it doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday afternoon or Saturday on TV. I mean, he's going to bring it. He's a competitive cat.
Yeah, his short range game, those mid-range jump shots, he is deadly on. It really has had a huge impact for you. And Coach, you have young players as well. It's not just the veterans. You know, freshman Tyreke Dixon, he had a huge game, 21 points, 3 of 6 from three-point range recently in a big win over Southern Mississippi. So you have some young players on the Blue Raiders as well.
We do. You know, Tyreke Dixon is playing as good as any freshman point guard in league play in the country, and his stats just back it up. You know, he was on the backcourt with Arkansas Wings with Malik Monk. So he's played a lot of big games, you know, and was a scorer. And he was trying to fit in early, but his toughness is great. You know, in league play, Tyreke's shooting 64% from 2, 67 from 3, 35 assists, and 9 turnovers. I mean, that's pretty special for a young guy like that. So he's got great toughness. The game is slow for him right now, and he's been a great addition for us.
Absolutely. Coach, we're based out of here in New Jersey, and I'll tell you, the people across the country, you have to pay attention to this Middle Tennessee State team. They have arrived, they're ready to go, and they're going to make an impact. They're making an impact in the regular season in Conference USA, but in tournament play as well. Coach, I want to thank you for just a few minutes here. Like we mentioned, Butler, VCU, Middle Tennessee State is right there. We love watching you play. You've had a great program with sustained success. We want to wish you best of luck in the rest of the season, the Conference USA tournament, and hopefully the NCAA tournament. Love to have you back on, watch you get in there and really, cause some sleepless nights for some of those legendary big schools. They don't want to play you, that's for sure. But Coach Kermit Davis of Middle Tennessee State, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, and best of luck for the rest of the year.
Well, we really appreciate you following Middle Tennessee basketball, and thanks for all the nice things that you've said, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed. We sure hope we can get back in that March Madness and look forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Best of luck, Coach. Best of luck on the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Gus, couldn't